showdown between the MPL Philippine champions Blacklist International against RRQ Hosi of Indonesia in our first lower bracket quarterfinals.
Will the King of Kings bounce back after a devastating defeat to Onyx Philippines? Or will the onto the stage? Let's get it onto the stage right now. It's gonna be our first team walking up. Who is it here? It is from Indonesia. RRQ Hosi making their way, and guess what? It's Skylar making his way onto the stage. Now you have your answer, that hairstyle. But on the other side, MPL royalty from the Philippines, Blacklist International.
Yeah, right now, both of these teams, again, this is an elimination match. RRQ, the last, coming in from Indonesia. If they exit out, it's gonna be weird where Indonesia is knocked out early and both Filipinos still keeping it strong in M3.
Actually, either reality would be unfamiliar territory because Blacklist International, arguably one of the most dominant teams in the game in recent history, nay, maybe the whole history of the game itself. If they get knocked out here, then what left? Who will be facing off against the dominant BTK? They won't get their revenge.
Oh, I don't know, man. But right now it's time to look at the coaches. RRQ coach, it is Achil. This guy has been through it all. He is a veteran of the game. Remember, he's the one who brought RRQ to that grand final back in M1, but on the other side.
He's facing off against Bonchan. He's the mastermind behind the Blacklist International, of course with the help of Dexter and the Eson right now. He himself...
They like diving deep. They like dishing out as much damage as they can. Speaking of RRQ, what about we introduce them?
Yeah, it's time to introduce the players. This lineup, Clay, R7, Albert, Vin, and the main man coming into the stage and replacing Zin in this roster for today's match. It is Skylar.
Skylar is such a young prodigy. I love him to death. I've spent a lot of time with him off the stage. He's so friendly. Back at the hotel, he's just ready to say hi and hello. And I think even their opponents will agree. Him and Oheb, they form quite a bond.
Absolutely, but on the other side here, we will take a look at the player statistics, all right? Tell me what you can say about all of these players here.
All right, again, from the side of RRQ, they really like dishing out as much damage as they can. Albert as well as Clay, both of them having very good KDAs. Clay with 9 average assists, Albert still holding strong with 8.3. Setting up is Vin, but right now, Skylar is the one that we really have to look at because before this, it was Zin. Zin haven't been performing quite well in the gold lane. Right now, switching up Skylar, we do have to see whether this is the best choice for RRQ to keep their lives in M3.
I love Zin to death. He's such a spectacle to watch, but I really was hoping for this. I hope they bring Skylar in for the World Championship, and here we go. Fighting for tournament life, it's time for the young gun to step up.
Absolutely, man. Skylar has just been a beam in this team. We saw him back at MPLI. We saw him at MPL Season 8, but it's time to reveal this roster.
Haji, Edward, Oheb, Wise, Oh My Venus. For those who know, I wrote a damn rap for this team, and I think the agents are still playing it non-stop. But, you know, that aside, I think it's time for them to have evolved. It took a while for them to do that. They had to learn the hard way, get knocked down by BTK. But right now, since that tragic moment, since that wake-up call, they've never been better.
That's a championship, championship mentality that these players have, man. Their motto is break the code. They want you to beat them because they'll surely just keep on learning. And as you can see from the statistics right here, it just shows how dominant they've been in that lower bracket.
Yeah, we have to look at the players because again, we have to remember what happened to RQ going up against Onyx, where they lost because they were out macroed. And from the side of Blacklist, they can do that as well, especially if Oheb gets his signature pick. This Beatrix being the Filipino sniper, he can take down those turrets, outranging the turrets themselves. And from the side of Blacklist, they like to group up together as well. The difference between them and RRQ is they like to outlast the opponent, out-sustain. So this is same, but different, but still same.
Well, now it's time to take a look at the team head-to-head right on RRQ and Blacklist. So far, it is going to the favor of Blacklist with 3 of the categories.
Yep, total damage dealt by Blacklist. I think that's honestly very, very skewed towards that Beatrix. A lot of the work put in by Oheb. Once called the Prince, now the Filipino Sniper. As well, something to note, these are two teams that got knocked down from the upper bracket. So they started strong in this tournament, and now they're just clawing their way back towards, you know, a step closer, that trophy.
And right now, we also have to look at the average KDA. In terms of KDA, RRQ is high over there. But again, it's because they like to take a lot of fights. Where from the side of Blacklist International, they also had games where they had kills. They did not lose kills. And the fact that they can play avoiding any kind of team fights, almost the same pattern as Onyx Philippines, RRQ, we have to see whether they can match the tempo setting up from the side of Blacklist.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah, double KDA is on RRQ, so very, very skewed towards Albert and Clay.
Yeah, that's the thing right here, all right? From both of the teams, we can kind of say that they're similar in the fact that they want to group up, but RRQ, they group up for fights, whereas Blacklist International, they group up to put pressure on the map to contest these neutral objectives, and now it's time to take a look at the Indonesians. RRQ Hoshi's keys to victory. Number one, you have to contest or ban that Paquito. Sure, Paquito hasn't been one of these like big picks for Blacklist International so far in M3, but it has been for RRQ. Every time they get this, they get that early game control so well done. Protect the gold lane, be patient in the late game, and prioritize wave control. The setup, most of these times, RRQ have been able to be out macroed because they don't have the setup.
Yeah, and this is the thing. For the side of RRQ, they really need to make sure the side lanes are doing well. And this is what we see whenever they group up. They really like to chase. They really like to get their movement speed up, make sure they pick off anyone, and make sure they get the kill. But that is a problem when you have 4-man grouping up. There's at least going to be one lane open.
Well, let's take a look right now for this team, all right? Their weaknesses have been exploited, but on the other side as well.
Yep. Blacklist International, just stick to the ube. It's worked before, and for some reason, even a year into their run as arguably one of the top teams in the world, it's still working. A lot of people say, is it done for ube? Are we tired of the ube strat? Apparently not. So now that we see it's Skylar, maybe they can also go ahead and target the golden or pressure the young Skylar. Avoid overextending. We've seen that they did this in their upper bracket first round, and of course, be patient. That's one of the keys to victory for RRQ. This is the other side of that coin. Force out these long drawn-out fights and run out the patience of the very aggressive King of Kings.
Yeah, right now I do want to have a little bit more keys to victory here because again, we've seen both this team plays. We have